Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. If you're looking for an awesome budget-friendly set of colored pencils for card making, then you need to see this video. Arrtx sent me their latest 72 set of colored pencils, and they mimic the smoothness and creaminess of Prismacolors. They blend beautifully, they don't break, and their price is so budget friendly, I couldn't even believe it. First things first, when I get a new medium, I like to swatch it out. I like to share that swatching with you so that you can see every color that comes in the set. So let's jump right into the swatching now. First, let's take a look at how the pencils come when they arrive to you. First of all, they come in this great sturdy box. They show all the colors that are included on the back there. You can see that they are 3.8 millimeter soft cores, richly saturated pigments, a wide range of colors, break-resistant lead, and artist quality. So once you slide the lid off, you can see that the pencils are inserted into the bottom. So this is a great way to store your pencils. You can put them on the shelf, pull them out, take the top off, and all the pencils are inside. And they're basically inserted into this foam so that they stay in place. And I think that's part of the reason why they come without broken leads, is because they have that foam in there that really keeps the lead separate from the pencils next to it. It's not like they're rattling around in a box. But I think also they just happen to have really good cores that don't tend to break. I pre-sharpened all of them and none of them broke upon sharpening, which for me is kind of unheard of with a pack of pencils. Okay, so I am going to swatch them all out, and when I swatch, I am going to do a harder pressure on the left hand side and light pressure on the right hand side so that you can kind of see the range of what you can get out of each pencil. And I'm going to do this, I'm going to try to do it in kind of a Roy G. Biv order. So I took all the pencils out. Putting them back in once they're all out is a little tricky because it's not like each pencil has a hole in the foam to put it into. It's kind of like a half divot. So I would recommend, if you can, to just kind of take one or two out at a time and move them around that way. But this ended up working and I got them back in. It was just maybe a little tricky when I was trying to keep the reds and the oranges and the yellows up front, and the other ones weren't quite in yet. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I like to have my pencils in that rainbow order so that I can see exactly what I'm picking from when I am choosing them. And, you know, sometimes you get a little surprise one you think is maybe a brown and it ends up being more reddish. I just go with the flow with that. I don't kind of freak out. So you can see there was a red there. That's okay. I'll just figure it out, or maybe I'll move it around and I'll know that it's at the bottom of the reds or the top of the reds, whatever I'm going to do. But this way I have them in the order that my swatch chart is in. This way I can really see, okay, well, this is how light of a color I can get, and this is how dark of a color I can get. I mentioned that they blend really beautifully. So if you lay down one color in a kind of area and then lay another color next to it and then cross over the first color, you're going to get a blend out of the two, which I think is great because I struggle with pencils, getting them to blend, things like that. But these blend beautifully, they blend easily, and so you're going to get more colors than the 72 that are already in the box, which is great. One card making technique that I love to do with colored pencils is no line coloring. So let's try out these pencils with a no line coloring card. If you haven't done no line coloring before, it basically just means instead of having a black outline from the stamp, you're going to have a really light outline. You can use a no line ink pad or a light colored ink pad. And then you're going to use your darker color first to outline the stamped image. So you're going to go right over the ink there. So I'm covering up the gray ink on these leaves with the darker green that I'm going to use on the leaves. So choose your color combination before you get going and take your darkest color and just draw right over the stamped image. It's really very simple when you break it down this way. So I'm not going to do a ton of shading and blending here. I am just going to see how these pencils react with each other. Once I have the outlines hand's done, I'm going to take the lighter color that I'm going to use and I'm going to just scrub right over it. So what's great about a pencil that blends really well and is smooth and creamy is that when you're doing this technique, the application of that lighter color right on top of the darker color is going to blend it out a little bit. You can go in with a white pencil too later and add some highlights or add some extra blending if you felt like the lines weren't blended out enough. So for the flowers, I am going to do a similar technique. I'm going to outline them in the darker color and then I'm going to go in with some lighter colors. But here I am going to add a few other colors in just to add some depth and dimension to these flowers. And here is that white pencil that I was talking about before. So that just adds, like I said, a little bit of highlight, or if you're having trouble blending something out and you're not getting it creamy enough, you can add that white pencil in to really blend it out. I think you get the idea of what I'm doing with the no line coloring, so I'm going to do the rest of the flowers off of camera. Once they're done, you can take a look at them, and if you like the way they are just like that and you feel like you did well, you can just go die cut that out. I wasn't like super happy with my blending and shading and the coloring that I did. So I left the stamp in my MISTI and I'm going to place this panel right back in exactly where it was before. That Tim Holtz media grip really helps hold it in place. And then I'm going to put some anti-static powder on top of the colored in images. I'm using the Rabbit Hole Designs anti-static powder, which really helps to keep embossing powder where you don't want it. Then I'm going to ink up the stamp again, this time with embossing ink, and use my Debbie tool to get a great impression on top of the colored in flowers. And then I'm going to pour some Hero Arts embossing powder in gold right on top of everything that we already did. Tap it off, and you can see that when you heat set it, that gold will be in the outline. So it just really helps to pull the image together if you felt like your coloring wasn't exactly where you wanted it to be. I always look at mine and am super judgmental on it, and I, ask everybody around me not to be judgmental of theirs, but I always am, and so that gold really helps pull it all together. I'm going to put the die on top and hold it in place with pixie tape, and when I cut it out, I'm going to use some foam strips behind it and pop it up on an A2 piece of white cardstock. And then I'm using one of the Simon Says stamp cardstock sentiment strips. I'm also going to pop that up on a piece of foam tape that I cut in half so it would hide behind it, and just lay that right on top of the floral arrangement. Last but not least, I'm going to decorate around the outside with a few sequins and use some Ultra Bond liquid glue to hold those in place, just to add a little touch of gold to the outside since we added that outline. And I had so much fun with these pencils. They really blend beautifully, and I think I probably could have left it without the embossed outline. Another way that I like to use colored pencils in card making is to color in really tiny images. Because markers tend to sometimes bleed or go outside the lines, it's really nice to have the sharp point of a colored pencil to color in really tiny spaces. So let's try these pencils with that technique. Okay, I am using an A2 background stamp from Hero Arts, and I am inking it up with the Stamp Market's black ink. So this time we're going for the more traditional look of a black outline colored in. Once I have it all inked up, I'm going to close my MISTI door and use my Debbie tool to get good pressure all over the place. And now I have my swatch chart next to me because I am going to color this image in with a rainbow of pencils. So each shelf is going to be a different color, and I'm going to get different hues of each color on each image on that shelf, which is just kind of a fun way to color this in. You could do it in a more realistic looking way, but I thought this was fun to try out these pencils and to really see all the colors down on a card. So you can see that on each image, I'm mixing up pressure, which is exactly what the swatch chart shows as well. So I have some parts of the image colored in with lots of pressure, and those are the darker areas, and then some parts of the image where I really hold back as much as I can, even though I'm very heavy-handed with coloring, and do light pressure to get that lighter bit of color on there. I love this because I feel like it gives you a good idea of the range of colors and how bright and vibrant they are here. I absolutely adore these pencils. I am having so much fun with the different colors. I didn't even do a ton of blending because I felt like there were so many options in just this 72 set of colors. I cut that stamped panel down to about 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to place a few strips of foam tape behind it and remove those protective layers. And then I'm going to place this on top of an A2 piece of white cardstock. You could definitely do black as well or some bright color, but I really liked the white on white here and just that added dimension. Again, I'm going to use one of the Simon Says stamp strips, the cardstock sentiment strips. It says wishing you the best, and I'm going to pop that up on a cut piece of foam tape as well. I don't think this one needs any more decoration because there's so much detail to the image, but again, just shows you all the colors that are available in this set. Whether you're a beginner or a more advanced colorist with pencils, I think this set is a really great deal. 72 colors, they blend really beautifully, they're smooth and creamy, and they don't seem to break as easily as some other pencils that I've had. I'll definitely be using these colored pencils in more videos coming up soon. If you enjoy seeing product reviews like this, as well as card making tips, tricks, techniques, and more, please like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can be notified every single time I have a new video available. As always, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Pencils. There's a lot of Oh, that's weird. Nope. Not what I was trying to say at all. Okay, one more time. One more time.